Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Slightly Warped Podcast. I'm Rick, joined as always by Big Show. Show, how are you?
I am good on this fine Tuesday. How about yourself?
I can't complain. There are many things and reasons that would enable me to, but what can you do about them? I'm I'm still on the right side of the dirt, so I'm blessed.
There you go.
So today's topic on the cast, uh, we barely touched on it last week because we were talking about um conditions. Particularly we touched on autism and ADHD, but started to tread into pharmaceutical territory, and I pulled the reins back on myself because I knew that today we were going to be talking about it. Big pharma, the drug companies. And I came across an article that I want to share with you and the rest of the country. Pros and cons of the pharmaceutical companies, and kind of discuss them. Um, I want to get your takes on it. I have some takes on it, and we'll probably get that overall after we go through all the pros and the cons. And there might be something out there that you want to bring up as well. What do you think about that?
All right.
Now,
I'm down.
this article was out of like bizarrecarlos.com. Don't know what that is. But basically,
That
they
sounds
brought up the
credible
role,
already.
right? They brought up the role of the pharmaceutical industry. And I don't want to get into the key roles just yet because that's part of what these um, pros and cons are. I just want to jump right into them. And we're going to start with the pros. It's
All
always good
right.
to start with the good stuff. Number one, advancements in healthcare. Yes, because you have pharmaceutical companies and because they are competing, there are always going to be advancements, excuse me, in healthcare because somebody is trying to come up with the next thing to take care of the thing that most people suffer from. So
Right.
that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. And you need that. You need that competition. If there was only one company and they only made a few types of drugs, there'd probably be some stuff that they gloss over. And it would change prices. We'll get into that too. So there's a lot of good that comes out of having a lot of drug companies and that healthy competition. So I'm down with the advancements in healthcare because pretty soon they just may make pills that completely get rid of these things, not just manage them.
No, they
More on
won't.
that.
Um,
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
about are we going to talk about each pro and each con, or are we going to go
Yes.
through the list? Okay. I just want to bring up a point real quick because you
Mhm.
said it's a good thing that you have all these other competitors.
Yes.
Is it really? I mean, because let's look at the soda industry. You got Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper. They're all going to kill you. You're all
Yeah.
going to get fat. You drink it all. I mean, so is it good that you have so much competition? McDonald's, Hardee's, Burger King, Wendy's. Is it really good that you have so much competition? Just putting it out there. Continue.
Oh, you just wait till we get to the cons on that because you are right on track with where I'm headed. Now, sticking with the pros though, the second thing was economic contributions and job creation. Obviously, the more companies you have, the more job opportunities there are. And as long as there are job opportunities everywhere, that helps the economy. There's no way around that. If jobs are created, a an ecosystem thrives. Uh, the third thing, pharmaceutical innovations and new technologies. That kind of goes hand in hand with the first one. If you're pushing each other in a business perspective to create things, you're going to advance the technology as well. Um, kind of a thin line between 1 and 3 because it's saying the same thing, but it's not. I can see the differences, but for argument's sake, until we get to the cons, I'll go with it. And we do appreciate those new technologies. We do appreciate the fact of the advancements. Uh, the fourth one piggybacks off of all of them, especially 1 and 3, a better quality of life. For obvious reasons, those of us that take things, you know, they enable us to live a lot better. Full disclosure, I have high blood pressure. So if I didn't have that amlodipine, you might not be here talking to me. So I get that. Now,
What's your blood pressure medication? What was it?
amlodipine,
Amlodipine.
yeah,
All right.
and it has its pros and cons too, just as a medication. Gonna get to that. I want to go over the last four, which are the cons, before we break into the discussion. The number one con: the high cost of medications. Yeah, I totally get that, and we are fortunate to have health insurance that takes care of some of this cost. But what about the less fortunate, or the people that can't get health insurance? And I know there are programs and everything. That's another thing for another thing. But right here and now, the people that either don't qualify or they're under that line, they are paying through the nose for medications. Um, Good example: older people. Yes, they have their Social Security, and they may have something that they're drawing from a previous job, like a 401k or something like that, but it may not be enough to get by on, or barely get by on. And if they're on medications, it could be draining. It really could. um I'll touch more on that in a minute. The second con, though, is lengthy and complex drug development process. I can speak firsthand because I forget what it's called now, but it used to be Quintiles. I worked for them back in the day, and I got to see how these pharmaceutical companies come up with these medications, and it is very lengthy. It could be from the first trial all the way until it gets to market. It could be 7 to 14 years before something makes it to market, and that depends on what it is, uh, all the trials, what stages of the trial they're at, how soon they can get to the next trial, etc. So it is a lengthy process. All these medications that you guys see, all these TV commercials, and I'm going to get to that in a second too. I got a lot to get to. These things that seem like there's a new one sprouting out every week, those things have been around for several years. They just hadn't hit the market until they were cleared by the FDA. All right. The third one: controversial practices by big pharma. Mm. I wondered what they meant by that, and big pharmaceutical companies have been accused of unethical practices, including withholding clinical trial data, or manipulating research to secure approval of drugs. That's pretty bad. Um, I've heard of things like that, and that is one of the reasons why it takes so long for these things to get pushed through, because they are tested, double tested, and triple tested. And I can see exactly where some T's don't get crossed and I's don't get dotted, and somebody says, hey, let's just go to the next step. It'll be all right. We got time. When this data comes out, then we'll just add it in. I can see that. And if it's not the right thing that they needed, it can get pushed all the way back. So I can see how things could get swept under the rug. The fourth and final con is the environmental impact of pharmaceutical manufacturing. And I guess that would go hand in hand with solvents, toxic chemicals, contamination of water and soil, that kind of thing. So they could be killing the environment while they are developing new drugs. So you can see that there are a lot of pros and cons to the pharmaceutical companies. Where do you stand right now, Big Show?
On my thought overall,
Yeah. Oh,
or
yeah.
do I agree with your pros? Is that what you're saying?
No, no. I'm pretty sure there. I'm pretty sure there are differences of opinion on one, if not all of them. So you can pick it apart one by one, or uh, you can go through it as a
The,
whole thing. It's up to you.
just overall, the pharmaceutical industry um, is a farce, in my personal opinion. Uh, the
And you're not
money's in the
lying.
medicine. The money's in the medicine. It's not in the cure. Um, I guarantee you, the fact that we have candles that can smell like any smell you want. We have jelly beans that can taste like earwax. We can do all that stuff. I guarantee you they know the cure for cancer. They know the cure for whatever. I mean, hell, look at Magic Johnson and his HIV. I mean, obviously, you know, he had enough money to actually get the correct medication to heal his body. Um,
Isn't that amazing?
what, that he had the money or that he's still
Well, no,
alive?
I mean he had money that he's still alive. I mean, despite all the people that before him and after him that had been diagnosed,
And
a
are
lot
still
of
dying
them
from it today.
exactly, exactly.
We're just used to it. Um, let's just go back a few years to when COVID broke out. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you had uh who were the two whatchamacallit shots? You had,
The
what was the two
Johnson and
companies?
Johnson and the God, I forget what the other one was.
I mean,
Uh,
but there were two,
yeah,
and two big ones, right?
yeah,
And the fact that those two there were competing didn't help anybody.
no.
They just got another piece of the proverbial money pie. And it's the same medication. They're not improving anything. They're giving you the same stuff just under a different name.
Pfizer,
I'm,
Pfizer was the other
Pfizer.
one.
There it is. Yep. I'm giving you a bacon cheeseburger. The difference is it's in a Burger King wrapper versus a McDonald's wrapper. It's still a freaking bacon cheeseburger, right?
Right.
So, I mean, they're not really doing anything. I think, just personal basis, watching my mother uh, go through her battle with cancer and finally losing her battle. The chemotherapy medication that they were giving her, that I think that just expedited, you know, uh, her exit from this world versus, maybe doing natural medications. I think, and I'm going off on an old man tangent, and I'll stop here just shortly, but I think that, you know, in my personal belief, God has put every cure that we will ever need on this planet. Plants do certain things. You mix this plant with this herb or whatever, and it will affect XYZ instead of these chemically based solutions that are killing us.
Man, I 100% agree with you on that, especially, thinking about my mom and what she went through. She had bladder cancer, and toward the end, it didn't matter what she was taking, it wasn't helping. She was just, on the downhill slide. And, to see that, um it has an effect on the people that are left behind. And one thing I want to touch on, not just the physical, the financial, because when I went down to visit them when she, took a turn, me and my dad had left for a little while to go take care of some stuff, and we stopped to get some meds for her. Um, he broke it down for me what they would and wouldn't do. Even though she's insured, she couldn't get pain medication until whatever X day is. Even if you're out, it's like, too bad, so sad. You're going to be in pain for 3 more days before we'll allow you to get more because it's a class, whatever narcotic. Okay,
Yep.
this person is sick. This person is dying. Concessions can be made for that. You cannot tell me,
Should be made.
yes, you cannot tell me that you can't do anything for her because of that. And to watch her suffer for an extra couple days just so they could go into the window of not having to pay full price for some of these meds. And then when you do pay, you're paying co-pays for everyone. And if you're on, we'll just say 4 medications, and you've got, we'll just say a $20 copay, that's already $80 right there a month. So if you're retired, you're on a fixed income, and if both of you are on medications, you're going to be paying somewhere between 40 to who knows how many dollars every month for these medications. And I understand
Yep.
a lot of people have Medicare and Medicaid, and they're supposed to kick in and one help the other. I get that, but they don't completely eliminate the problem. And I know too many
Oh,
retired folk that are still uh, one missed check away from, losing it all, because that's just the way the world is now. And I hate to see them live with that. I hated to see my mom and dad go through that. Um,
did your mom go through hospice at
yes,
the end?
yes, yeah.
How long
So
was she in hospice?
she was in hospice for several weeks. I want to say it was 3, 4 weeks at the end. And the reason why is because we knew that it was time. The doctor had explained it to us when we were down there. Um, she was in the hospital at that time, but she wanted to go home. She wanted to make sure that when it was her time, she went at home, surrounded by family, not in a hospital room.
So
So
she was at home in hospice. She wasn't at a hospice.
no, no, we had someone come out.
Got
Someone
you.
came out, and
That's good.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because
they tried that with my mom, but she just wasn't comfortable, so she actually was in an actual hospice. Um, so
and, and,
you know
and
that's also, and I'm not trying to get steer it to a different direction, but that's part of the pharmaceutical company, the
right.
medical industry that we're discussing. Um, I never understand, and this is my personal view because and if you're fortunate enough out there that you haven't lost someone incredibly close to you, you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
As a boy, as a man, you only have one mother. You can have multiple daddies, but you're only going to have one mother. And when you're the only male to that mother, it's a special bond. I don't know. Do you have any brothers?
I have a brother and a sister,
Okay.
but I think
So,
me
I
and
mean, there's
mom had a
still a
special
different
bond
mom.
because I was the oldest.
So, exactly. The mother's first son is his first true love. And the son is also the mother's last true love. But I never understood, and I didn't really ever give it any thought until I actually went through this situation. But I do not understand, and I will never understand how, if you have a pet, a dog, cat, gerbil, hamster, whatever, and it's sick and its life, however they call it, you go to the vet and they say, hey, there's nothing we can do. We should probably put the animal down, so it doesn't have, it's not suffering.
Suffering, yeah.
Um, why that rule does not exist with humans is beyond me.
Well, there was a
My
doctor
my
named Jack
mother,
Kevorkian.
that's different. That's different. That's people went outside the realm and had to go. It's kind of like abortions before it was legal.
Fair
I mean, now
enough.
it's illegal again, but they still did it. But I'm saying it should be standard practice. So you said your mom was basically in hospice care for 3 to 4 weeks. My mom was actually in a hospice for probably 10 days when she actually went in. She was lucid for the first day or so, and then she drifted off and she never spoke again. But that 8 to 9 days that she was just there getting medication, she basically starved to death. She wasn't eating, she wasn't
Yeah,
drinking because she wasn't fucking conscious,
the body just shuts
you
down.
know? Right. But it took, imagine what that body went through in that 9 days of no water, no sustenance, none of that. She was medically for pain, basically. She was asleep, going through. But I don't the suffering that she went through and that I witnessed her going through, and there was absolutely
Mhm.
nothing that we could do about it. That's a problem with the medical industry um, that I will
And
always have a problem with.
just for clarification, making sure we're on the same page, the medical industry allows that because they continue to make more money.
Oh yeah,
There's no
but
money in it if they let you go.
true. But there's also the moral compass of we can't kill her,
Mm-hmm.
but you are. You know, you're just doing it. You're not feeding her. She had no IVs, none of that.
You're basically
There was
preserving
nothing.
her.
There was no preserving her. She just lay there and died. She basically starved to death.
Yeah, I see. I
She was
see what you
given
mean.
medication to keep her she was in a medically induced coma, I guess you could say.
Like a
Although,
like a catatonic state.
although, yeah, I mean, although you could talk to her and I know she's hearing me, she just can't respond, like she'll squeeze a hand or something like that. So I knew she was there, but she wasn't there. But, she basically starved to death.
Yeah, it's sad too.
Instead of ending, her misery, she was, her last, 8 to 10 days on this earth I would assume, was very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I would agree with that because I know my mom wasn't comfortable, and I know that she was in and out a lot going towards the end. Um, I want to just so that people are clear, we're not just talking about end of life. We're talking about the entire pharmaceutical companies. And
I mean, just like your
if we
blood
talk
pressure
about,
medication,
mm-hmm,
just like your blood pressure medication, you don't really need it. They're just telling you need it. There's other things that you could do and use that could make it better for you, but you need this, and they tell you that we take it. We're sheep.
and
Bah.
real talk, I am trying to lose 20 pounds and get in a lot better shape so that I can get off of it. Um, I've got to eat better. I've got to live right. I mean, you know, it's not going to happen overnight because I didn't develop this condition overnight. I allowed it to happen. So now I've got to, allow it to, you know, come back down. And that's
I
another
mean, but
story for another time.
what did the people in the 16 and 15 and 1400s do that had high blood pressure? They chewed on some herb.
Yeah.
They ate some vegetable. They some
Now
essential oil that they got from a plant.
I'm gonna give you some real talk because you talk about 15 1600s. Um, I'm willing to bet there are a lot of less people that were diagnosed with it because you didn't have a McDonald's around the corner selling you stuff that wasn't any good for you to get that high blood pressure.
True, but
That so
high
so
blood pressure
most of
isn't just
everything.
from diet, though.
Oh, I know, but a lot more people. were a lot more natural back then. I'm not saying it wasn't there, because it was,
No, I
but
agree.
to a
I
lesser
agree.
degree. And that's where I'm going with this next point. The pharmaceutical companies are in league with the doctors as far as bonuses and contracts to get you on these medications. Um, I had my general practitioner try to tell me, "Hey, your blood pressure is a little high. We can give you simvastatin." Nah, I'm good. I'm going to start running, and I'm going to get in a little bit better shape for that, and keep that down. Um, not
They
blood
were going to give
pressure.
you what?
Simvastatin for cholesterol. Excuse me. I said high blood pressure for cholesterol. Like, there are natural ways to reduce your cholesterol, and yes, got that down too. So, baby steps for everything. Um, Not saying that some people don't need it, because depending on where you are on whatever scale you're on, we're not saying don't take meds. That's not what we're saying on this podcast. But we're saying there are alternatives, more natural stuff like Big Show is talking about, things you can do. Put in the research. Put in the research. Things you can do, things you can eat, um, what have you.
And I want to
Oh,
reiterate, I also agree with you. We're not saying don't take the medication,
yeah,
but I am saying don't stay on the medication.
yeah, yeah. Don't be a mindless sheep and just,
If you need NyQuil to get over a cold, take the NyQuil.
although I would argue that if you have a cold,
Don't
nature's
take
going to
it to
run
go
its
to
course.
sleep. Don't take it to go to sleep when you
Yeah,
feel healthy,
I think.
um, or whatever, the flu, whatever, the
Mhm.
nighttime sneezing, coffee head, aching, stuffy head, fever, so you can rest medicine, NyQuil. Well, if you have any of those symptoms,
Speaking of symptoms, I want to touch on that, because if you look, and I will challenge everybody out there within the sound of my voice, watch TV tonight. Doesn't matter what you watch, you're going to run across a pharmaceutical commercial for any product. Here's the challenge: listen to what that product claims it can alleviate or help cure, and then at the end of the commercial, listen long and hard for all the things that it can cause while you're taking it. It's going to be mind blowing. And I know a lot of people have done that before, but if you actively listen to it tonight, just one commercial, doesn't matter the product, you're going to be like, huh. And these things have passed their clinical trials, they've made it to market, and they're actually selling. Whether they're over the counter or prescription drugs, doesn't matter. Look
I
at
always like to listen
Ozempic.
to I always like to listen to the side effects afterwards that
Yes,
they say at 1,000 miles an hour.
may cause headache, driven dizziness, drowning, vomiting. You might even die. So just, and uh,
Yep.
what do they call that? Legal speak, where you double that speed and, oh, just get it out there. That way we can say we did, but we don't care if they didn't hear it. We just want them to see the person smiling, dancing, or whatever in the commercial, because they're free now that they take this pill. And no, it doesn't quite work like that. The pill, the once a month shot, whatever it is, do your research. I'm not here to tell you you don't need it. I'm not here to tell you do your research. Find an alternative. And if that alternative don't work, or you can't get around it, then yeah, take that med if your doctor prescribes it. But yeah, I'm rolling back around to Ozempic before we close it out. That was one, oh, everybody jumped on the bandwagon because, oh, these celebrities took it, it made them lose weight. What have we heard about them side effects now? People get off of it, and what happens? The same thing that happens to people that crash diet. If you diet too hard too fast, once it's over, you're going to balloon back up. And the people that took the Ozempic, they've got joint pain now, or they've there's a few other issues. I don't know. It doesn't come to mind because I haven't looked it up. Probably should have did that. But the point is, um, you got to be careful. You got to be careful, and it's expensive too.
Very.
We
Very
just barely
expensive.
touched on the money aspect of it. They these companies charge your arm and a leg, and I know it said as one of the pros that with multiple pharmaceutical companies, they push each other to make each other. They do that, but one thing that it didn't say that I learned at Quintiles, if you are the manufacturer of something new and shiny, the first couple of years, you have a monopoly on it because others have to catch up, and you have, I forget what it's called, but yours is the main drug. When the others catch up, they are called what is it they're called? They're not the manufacturer, they're the cheap version. Do you know what I'm talking about? God, what's the name for it? Um
It's on the tip of my tongue.
yeah, yeah,
As soon as we log off, we'll remember it.
exactly. I know somebody will like jump in the comments. You're talking about such and such. I'm like, yeah, we were, 2 days ago. I need somebody now. This is why we need to live stream one day. Somebody will come in here and help us. But you know what I'm talking about. It's the cheap version. Uh,
Off brand?
yeah,
They call off brand?
it's like an off brand. It's cheaper.
Generic.
Thank you, thank you. The generic versions will come out, within a year or so afterwards. Once they've caught up, the formula will be slightly different. That may create a whole new set of circumstances, but the prices are lower. Doesn't necessarily mean they're better. They could actually be worse. Again, a whole nother thing. So do your research. If you take nothing else from this episode, kids, do your research. And
Yes.
to all of you out there that don't take any medications, haven't had any kind of surgeries, et cetera, count yourself blessed because it's going to happen one day, or you're going to get approached by the doctor one day. And if you do your research and say, I'm going to try this first, hey, I, I'm hoping that it works out for you because that's the way to go. Don't be like me and put yourself in a position that you knew if you kind of did right before, you may not necessarily have to go through it right now. Maybe. Like Show said, it could have still happened anyway. My blood pressure could have went up anyway, but it may not have happened as fast. It may not have been as bad. So lesson learned. Lesson learned. One thing I want to say before I let you take it out of here, though, going back to my mom, seeing her go through what she went through, that hit me hard and that stuck with me, and I want to do better and be better. I mean, my time is going to come one way or the other, but I want to work that much harder to make sure that I'm here that much longer for my wife, for my kids. And that's what keeps me going. You got anything before we get out of here, Show?
Nope. Just that's beautiful, brother. It's beautiful.
Every now and then I do something right. You guys, I want to know what your take is on this. What kind of stories do you have? Were you able to get off a medication? Drop us a comment on the podcast feed, or you can, if you're watching on YouTube, getting those comments there. You can even email us. We do have an email address. You can email us at
We do.
the slightly warped podcast at yahoo.com. I know it sounds like a mouthful, but it's the name of the show, Slightly Warped Podcast. All right, Show,
Dot
take us on out of
com.
here.
Hey, appreciate you guys for joining us here on a Tuesday. Well, it'll be Thursday when you see us. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you next week. Love your loved ones. Tell them you love them. Tomorrow's not a promise. Peace out.
Good night, everybody.